Caleb Williams just put the NFL on notice.
Going for it all! Caught! Bears win it!
But only a year ago, he was a meme.
Will Caleb Williams be the quarterback for the Bears next year?
Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams, I don't think this marriage is going to work.
He's just trying to play backyard football. That doesn't work in the NFL.
Caleb is the worst quarterback in the National Football League right now, pal.
Never lost that much in one season of my life.
But playing in the pros wasn't some fantasy. It was the plan all along. Becoming an NFL QB was Caleb's dream from the time he was 10 years old. It was at that age he committed to a strict training program with the ultimate goal of making that dream a reality.
So you're 10 years old and you decide, I'm going to be a quarterback now.
Kind of put together a plan, and from training to eating to, when I wake up and things like that.
At 10 years old, and now we're here.
And that was because of his dad, Carl Williams, who now owns Athletic Republic Capital Region, a gym and training facility in Maryland.
We built him to be able to do everything, and we wanted him to have the intelligence of Tom Brady.
The dream became his obsession. Caleb played at Gonzaga College High School in Washington, D.C., and as a sophomore, he scored 36 total touchdowns, threw for nearly 3,000 yards, and won the state championship on a walk-off 53-yard Hail Mary.
Look at that! Purple Eagles win the WCC on a last-second touchdown pass!
He took home Gatorade Player of the Year honors that season and was ranked as the #1 dual-threat QB in America. Caleb could have gone anywhere he wanted, but he chose to team up with the sharpest offensive mind in college football and play for Lincoln Riley at the University of Oklahoma.
Coach Riley is an offensive mastermind. He's a student of the game.
Lincoln Riley is the best quarterback whisperer in the game, and it's not close.
Caleb Williams arrived in Norman with lofty expectations. Expectations of beating out Heisman favorite Spencer Rattler for the starting job.
You had to pivot because they decided to start the guy was a projected first-round pick the next year. So why did it hurt you, though?
Because I was the best in the country.
But when that didn't happen, another door opened during the October 9th Red River rivalry game against Texas.
Here comes pressure, and they've got Rattler. Intercepted. He just airmailed the ball. Rattler and loses the ball.
When the struggling Rattler committed 2 turnovers and the Sooners fell into a 35-17 hole. So looking for a spark, Lincoln Riley benched the incumbent and vaulted Caleb into college football lore.
Covered and snap, now tries to make some magic. Touchdown. Williams has plenty of time, steps up, launches downfield for Mims. Touchdown! Are you kidding me? What a play!
He come alive in the second half, scored 35 points, and is
under duress and against the odds. The future arrives early at Oklahoma.
A 55-48 comeback win, the largest in the history of the rivalry, was enough to snatch the starting job right out of Rattler's hands. And from there, the hype train picked up a full head of steam. Caleb tossed 4 touchdowns in a 52-point showing against TCU 1 week later, then 6 scores against Texas Tech in yet another 52-point outing to cap off October. He started his career 4-0, lauded as the electric savior of the Sooners season. But up next, a road matchup at Baylor, and Caleb got his first taste of reality, throwing 2 interceptions in a 27-14 loss. Still, he had all the opportunity in the world to redeem himself 2 weeks later, set to do battle with Oklahoma State for a Big 12 championship berth. The Sooners took a third-quarter lead, but the Cowboys would respond by holding the OU offense scoreless in the 4th and locking down the win with a game-ending sack on Caleb. To make matters worse, the loss was followed by Lincoln Riley's abrupt departure for USC. Yet Caleb had the chance to end his freshman season on a high note under interim head coach Bob Stoops. Oklahoma versus Oregon in the Alamo Bowl. Amidst a crazy shootout, Caleb Williams and Anthony Brown went tit for tat, but when the clock hit 0, Williams was the victor 47-32. The Sooners finished the roller coaster year with an 11-2 record, and Caleb was a freshman All-American. But he wasn't satisfied, so he made a difficult decision. This video is sponsored by Arena Club. If you're into sports, chances are you're into sports cards. And for cards, Arena Club is the best place out there. When I was a little kid, one of my absolute favorite things to do in the world was to go to Walmart and get packs of cards. I didn't really even care who I ended up with, I was just obsessed with sports cards. And if you can relate, Arena Club lets you relive that pastime through what are called digital slab packs, which start at just $25. The cards inside are real graded cards, which can end up being worth more than 20 times as much as the price of the pack itself. Just one click, and the card is instantly added to your virtual showroom. So let's go ahead and rip a pack. So as you can see, I'm on Arena Club right now on the Slab Packs tab. You have different tiers from Legendary to Diamond to Emerald, but what I'm going to be ripping is the Ruby. And of course, I'm going to be doing football. And what's great is that Arena Club gives you an entire checklist of every card you can possibly pull. Starting with the Grails, which would be just the absolutely crazy pulls, then the chase cards, and most likely what you'll get is one of these lineup cards. It's easy to waste time just admiring how good some of these cards look, but let's go ahead and actually open this pack. Get this cool animation, and we end up with none other than Jalen Hurts. Certainly not a quarterback everybody can agree on, but if you ask me, I think Hurts is set up for a nice bounce back this year, so a worthwhile investment in my eyes. I'm going to keep that card for now, but if I wanted to, I could go ahead and sell it right away with Arena Club's offer, and use those funds to buy more packs. So if you want to rip packs, you can go to Arena Club right now and get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/Kai and using code Kai. That's arenaclub.com/Kai, code Kai. Now let's get back to the video. He packed his bags and flew 1,400 miles west to join the USC Trojans.
I mean, Lincoln Riley's produced 2 #1 picks at quarterback in the past few years, and Jalen Hurts is looking pretty good in Philly, too. So,
a little Heisman buzz and a clean slate with Lincoln Riley, the perfect engineer for Caleb's development. Now entering the 2022 season, USC was ranked number 14 in the nation.
I think at some point in this first season of his, they'll be ranked inside the top 10.
And to say Caleb's Southern California tenure got off to a dreamlike start would be quite the understatement.
And there's Addison, and there's the first USC touchdown. He has his second touchdown of the day.
66 points in your home debut. That'll get the job done. After going 4-8 a year prior, the Trojans raced out to a 6-0 start with Caleb in the thick of the Heisman conversation. Even his first loss was one of the most impressive individual showings of the season, throwing 5 touchdowns in a 43-42 heartbreaker at Utah. The next week, back on the horse for another 5 touchdowns and a victory at Arizona. Caleb had established himself as an absolute master of off-schedule play, a possessor of once-in-a-decade arm talent, and once again as a savior, but this time the savior of a struggling program.
Pac-12 championship from Las Vegas. USC and Utah. Here we go. Williams throws that direction, and it's intercepted. Cam Rising and Utah have won the Pac-12 for the second year in a row. It's over, where the Green Wave have defeated the Trojans.
The Trojans' storybook season fizzled out in the end, dropping the Pac-12 championship to Utah and then blowing a 15-point lead in the final 5 minutes to Tulane in the Cotton Bowl for a crushing 46-45 defeat. Still, it did little to tarnish the body of work Caleb had put both on tape and on the stat sheet in 2022. He threw for over 4,500 yards and led the nation with 42 passing touchdowns while playing the most exciting brand of quarterback in existence. That campaign earned him a trip to New York City for the Heisman Trophy presentation, a presentation void of suspense for the odds-on lock that was Caleb Williams. But the past is the past. Fast forward 9 months, and none of that meant anything when the number 6 ranked Trojans kicked off their 2023 season in late August, hosting San Jose State. But things looked mighty familiar when the reigning Heisman winner tossed 9 touchdowns in the first 2 weeks. Come mid-October, USC was 6-0 once again, and Caleb had thrown 22 touchdowns to just 1 interception. But this year, the Trojan collapse came a bit earlier.
A little better this week as it is intercepted right down the middle of the defense. It's Watts. Good!
The Utah Utes sink USC once more.
With time now, taking a shot, and it's picked off at the 45-yard line.
Losses in 5 of the final 6 games for the generational prospect. Not exactly a storybook ending to his collegiate career, and one moment in particular gave the critics just what they needed. On November 4th, hosting the number 5 ranked Washington Huskies, led by the most prolific passer in the nation in Michael Penix Jr., the Trojans suffered a 52-42 loss. A loss that officially eliminated them from national or even Pac-12 championship contention. And that reality hit Caleb all at once.
Laying in the arms of family there. He knows the reality of what a third loss means.
Creating the thought that he might just be too soft for truly generational prospect status. Nonetheless, Caleb's time in Los Angeles was just the launching pad he was hoping for, and it led him to the Green Room in Detroit, Michigan, where the Chicago Bears held the number 1 pick in the 2024 NFL Draft and were about to make his childhood dream come true.
The Chicago Bears select Caleb Williams, quarterback, Southern California.
Caleb was the first overall selection, but some didn't think that was quite right. Bad leader, too much hero ball, holds on to the ball too long, can't play within structure. So Caleb had just one choice. With fellow top 10 pick wide receiver Rome Odunze, it was time to make the doubters eat their words.
I think he's been in a dress, but I just don't see him as a leader in a football locker room.
The nails are painted again. I mean, it looks like he's got, I don't know.
And what better way to do that than in a Week 2 primetime showdown in Houston on Sunday Night Football with the entire country watching. But on that night, things took a wrong turn. Caleb experienced a bruising welcome to the NFL moment, taking 7 sacks and 11 hits from the Texans defense. He finished the game 23 of 37 for 174 yards and 2 interceptions in a 19-13 loss before getting post-game little brother treatment from the very QB he had beaten out for the Heisman just 2 years earlier. But fast forward to Week 8, and the Bears were eyeing their 4th straight win, heading to Washington, D.C. for a battle between the top 2 overall picks. A battle that would go down as their most heartbreaking loss of the year.
Here comes the Hail Mary with the game on the line, and the ball's caught! Caught! It's a madhouse in Landover, Maryland! He did it!
And in Week 10, this time versus number 3 overall pick Drake May and the Patriots, it was even worse. Entering the game with a patchwork offensive line, Caleb was sacked a season-high 9 times, passed for only 120 yards, and led an offense that went 1 for 14 on 3rd down, marking their 3rd straight loss and 2nd consecutive game without a touchdown. Caleb ended his rookie year 5-12, while Jaden Daniels carried the Commanders to the NFC Championship. The hype was real, but it took just a few months for it all to go up in smoke. In 17 games, he was sacked 68 times. He threw just 20 touchdowns. His head coach was fired, and of course, the memes were in full force. People saying Chicago would have been better off having just kept Justin Fields.
Caleb Williams was not, allegedly, said he was not interested in girls as a kid.
But Caleb's season wasn't without promising moments, like his 36-10 win over Carolina in Week 5. 4 touchdowns the following week in London, or even the tough luck Week 12 overtime loss in Minnesota. Plus, Chicago's 2026 offseason came bearing gifts.
The Chicago Bears have gotten their man. The team has agreed to terms with Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson to become their new head coach.
The Chicago Bears select Colston Loveland.
Chicago Bears select Luther Burden III.
Now, with one of the game's top offensive minds and 2 shiny new weapons at his disposal, wins over 2 division rivals in the first 2 weeks of 2026 would have made for the perfect beginning to his redemption arc. But after blowing a 2-score lead to J.J. McCarthy in the second half, then getting blown out by 31 points in Ben Johnson's return to Detroit, these were the same old Bears. But you couldn't have drawn up a better get-right game than a Week 3 home matchup versus the defenseless Cowboys. And did Caleb ever take advantage? Starting off with a 35-yard TD to Odunze, then a 65-yard flea flicker to Burden, and the 4th touchdown of the day to DJ Moore for the cherry on top. Chicago was still just 1-2, but little did we know that win would kick off one of the most clutch regular season runs in recent memory.
I wrote down harmony. Out of the first drive, Caleb and Ben, there was a certain harmony.
Week 4, a game-winning touchdown drive in Vegas. Week 6, revenge against Washington courtesy of a 36-yard drive to set up a Jake Moody game winner. Week 9, the last-second 58-yard score to Colston Loveland to outgun Joe Flacco 47-42 in Cincinnati. Week 10 in Chicago, an 18-yard Caleb TD scramble with under 2 minutes left steals the win and vaults the Bears to 6-3, followed by a Cairo Santos walk-off the very next week in Minnesota. And last but certainly not least, I raise you Week 16 at Soldier Field against Green Bay. The Bears need a touchdown in the worst way with 2 minutes left in the 4th quarter. So Caleb goes 6 for 8 and fires a back corner strike to Ja'Day Walker off one leg for the 6-yard touchdown to force overtime, where he then delivers the pass of the regular season, somehow outdoing his 4th quarter heroics with a 48-yard heave in the face of pressure. A throw so perfectly placed that he couldn't have walked down to the end zone and handed it to DJ Moore any more accurately for the 48-yard walk-off TD.
We're a team that's going to fight to the end. There was too much time on the clock.
In his 2nd season, Caleb set a new Chicago Bears passing record with 3,942 yards, threw 27 touchdowns to just 7 picks, finished the regular season with 6 4th-quarter comebacks, the most ever by a quarterback under 25 years old, and most importantly, won the NFC North with an 11-6 record, going from a meme back in training camp to one of the undisputed best young quarterbacks in the NFL.
Caleb Williams is a generational talent. He is special.
But hosting the Packers once again in the wild card round, I'm not so sure he was ready for his first playoff experience.
Williams fires, picked at the 12-yard line. Open, caught, Reed, touchdown. Open, caught, Dobbs for the score.
Stepping into the second half, trailing 21-3, Caleb ditched the early game rust and found a rhythm, leaning entirely on his elite arm talent to hunt big play opportunities downfield. Facing elimination down 27-16 in the 4th quarter, on 4th and 8, he flashed pure unscripted magic. Flushed out of the pocket to his left, he evaded pressure, floated an improbable ball down the left sideline while his feet were completely airborne, and hit Rome Odunze in heavy traffic for a 27-yard pickup that kept the season alive. The drive ultimately led to a score and a Colston Loveland 2-point conversion, but Caleb had more work to do. With the ball back down 3 with 3 minutes on the clock, Williams orchestrated the final masterpiece of the game. Executing a beautiful play fake, he lobbed a 25-yard pass over the top to DJ Moore near the pylon, taking a 30-27 lead with 1:43 left. Williams' 4th quarter surge that included 184 yards and 2 touchdowns secured the Bears' first playoff victory in 15 years, leading to his toughest test yet, the Los Angeles Rams and eventual MVP Matthew Stafford. And after a defensive struggle in the 3rd quarter, Williams and the Bears once again found themselves trailing 17-10 with under 2 minutes on the clock. An 18-yard completion to Loveland and then a swift rush placed them in the red zone. But with only 27 seconds to go and facing a daunting 4th and 4 from the Rams' 14-yard line, Caleb retreated 26 yards all the way back to the Rams' 40. And under heavy pressure, threw a breathtaking fadeaway pass into the back corner of the end zone to Cole Kmet, tying the game at 17 as the game went to overtime.
In all kinds of trouble, put it up for grabs to the end zone. Kmet! He got it for the touchdown! They've done it again!
And after the Bears defense forced a quick stop, Williams took the field with the chance to win it. However, an errant throw intended for DJ Moore wound up in the hands of Rams safety Cameron Curl before a Harrison Mevis field goal ended the Bears' Cinderella run.
Matthew Stafford and the Rams have ended this glorious season for Chicago.
But quietly, Caleb put up one of the most magical sophomore quarterback campaigns we've ever seen in his very first year under Ben Johnson. And the scariest part is there's so much room for improvements to be made. Thank you all for watching this video, and if you want to support, feel free to like, subscribe, and watch the next video on your screen.